At 5:17 local time, the radar picture changes. 3 fast contacts surge up from sea skimming altitude on bearing 071. Their spacing is tight, their separation deliberate, their speed just under Mach 1. Inside the Combat Information Center, nobody raises their voice. Vampires inbound. The $30 million U.S. Navy warship keeps cutting through the calm Gulf waters, its gray hull carving a narrow wake. Half a minute earlier, it was a routine transit. Engines were balanced, navigation steady, watch rotations normal. Now every console is alive. The first missile signature confirms a launch from the Iranian coastline. An infrared flare appears, paired with a low-altitude flight profile built to hug the sea's curvature and stay beneath radar coverage until the very last moment. General quarters sounds. Steel doors slam shut throughout the ship. Sailors move quickly but never lose control. Training takes over. Headsets go on. Consoles burn brighter. On the bridge, the captain shifts forward by half a step. No speech, no drama. Set condition 3. Track and engage. Time to impact, 92 seconds. The 3 missiles fan out into a shallow spread. One climbs slightly, likely serving as radar bait. The other 2 remain low, slicing only feet above the water. A classic saturation tactic, forced the defense to split its attention. The ship's air search radar narrows its sweep. Fire control radar refines the tracks. Engagement solutions update every second. 11 nautical miles to the east, an escorting destroyer confirms support. Its Aegis system locks on from range, calculating intercept geometry. SM-2 solution ready. At 54 seconds to impact, the outer defense layer fires first. A vertical launch cell flashes white. An interceptor blasts skyward, reaching beyond Mach 3 within seconds. Its guidance radar locks onto the higher Iranian missile. At 38 seconds, the 2 collide in a violent burst of light above the water. Fragments scatter harmlessly into the sea. Splash 1. There is no celebration. 2 remain. A second interceptor launches almost immediately. This target is lower, more difficult to hold. Sea clutter interferes with the lock. 30 seconds. The Iranian missile makes a slight jink, a subtle course change. The interceptor adjusts, but the angle slips away. 25 seconds. Miss. 1 hostile missile gets through the outer layer. Inside CIC, the posture changes, but the calm remains. Cram primary. The ship's rolling airframe missile launcher swings toward the threat. Small, fast, lethal. Its sensors pick up the incoming track at close range. Automatic, immediate. Range, 4.2 nautical miles. The warship stays on course. An evasive turn too early would disrupt its own intercept geometry. In moments like this, discipline matters more than instinct. 3.8 miles. At last, the captain gives the order. Right standard rudder, 12 degrees. The hull leans smoothly to starboard. The wake broadens. The missile's terminal solution shifts just enough to complicate the attack. 3.1 miles. The close-in weapon system begins to spin. A rising mechanical whine builds over the forward deck. The gun still holds fire, waiting for the final line. 2.4 miles. Cram lock. Solid tone. Now the missile's heat signature burns clearly against the horizon, visible through the forward optics. A thin spear of smoke racing straight at steel. 1.9 miles. Engage! A cram missile kicks free with a sharp burst of flame, clearing the launcher and streaking low and fast toward the target, homing on its own. 1.3 miles. Bridge windows tremble under the combined pressure of acceleration and sea air. Sailors on deck brace behind reinforced positions. 1.1 nautical miles. Then the sky flashes. The intercept happens less than 600 yards off the port bow. A heavy thump rolls across the hull. Spray erupts upward as fragments hammer the water into a violent wall of white. The shockwave passes. For 1 heartbeat, there is silence. Smoke drifts across the surface where the Iranian missile should have been. Splash 2. The warship settles back onto its original heading. Engine power never dropped. Systems stay online. No impact alarms. But CIC is not finished. Operators sweep the horizon again, scanning for follow-up signatures. In this region, 3 missiles rarely come alone, and the radar picture is still changing. At 5:18 local time, smoke from the last intercept is still drifting when the display shifts again. A new track appears. High altitude, bearing 084. 10 seconds earlier, it wasn't there. This one is different. It is not skimming the sea. It is climbing. Infrared bloom confirms a delayed launch from deeper inland. Different profile, different purpose. Ballistic trajectory. Inside CIC, the atmosphere tightens. Sea-skimming cruise missiles are one kind of threat. A descending ballistic weapon is another entirely. Faster, steeper, and far harder to time. The escorting destroyer, still 11 nautical miles east, reacts at once. Aegis taking primary. Data links merge the picture. The warship's radar feed combines with the destroyer's spy array, creating a shared engagement envelope. The calculations run in silence. Time to predicted descent, 71 seconds. The ballistic object climbs briefly, then tips into its downward arc. Terminal phase will arrive fast. Recommend SM-6. Approved. A vertical launch cell aboard the destroyer flares white against the horizon. The SM-6 launches hard, driving skyward with controlled violence. Its flight path is different from the earlier interceptors, steeper, sharper, more aggressive. Inside the $30 million warship, sailors feel the change immediately. No one wastes a word. Headsets carry only what matters. Altitude 22,000, descending. The ballistic threat accelerates as gravity takes hold. Terminal velocity is rising, 48 seconds. The SM-6 corrects in flight, guided by composite radar tracks from both ships, 34 seconds. The descending object begins to drift slightly. Possible maneuvering re-entry vehicle. Possible instability? Hard to tell, 28 seconds. The intercept window narrows. From the bridge wing, a watch officer follows the thin white trail cutting high across the sky. 17 seconds. The sky breaks apart. The intercept happens far above the altitude of the earlier cruise missile engagements. A bright, precise detonation blooms against the blue morning light. Fragments scatter outward, bleeding off energy long before they can pose any danger to the surface. Splash 3. The concussion arrives a few seconds later, a low, rolling pressure wave that moves across the deck like distant thunder. No impact alarms, no structural warnings. But inside CIC, no one is celebrating. Confirmed debris pattern. Operators search for secondary objects. A ballistic payload can be designed to break apart on purpose. Multiple warheads are uncommon here, but assumptions get people killed. 10 seconds pass. Nothing else is descending. The immediate air threat is gone. For 11 seconds, the sea settles back into its normal rhythm. Then surface radar lights up again. Fast mover. Surface contact, bearing 090. Range 6 nautical miles. Speed increasing. Not in the air. On the water. Long-range optics swing east. At first, heat shimmer distorts the image. Then the shape sharpens. A small hull. Low profile, no visible flag. Possible fast attack craft. Speed, 35 knots and climbing. A second contact appears behind it. Then a third. They are coming from beyond the missile launch axis, not pulling away from it. This is no coincidence. The warship's posture shifts again. Surface action stations. The 5-inch gun moves slightly. Low elevation, deliberate angle, visible on purpose. The sea remains calm. That helps small craft build speed. It also helps fire control systems hold a clean solution. Range, 5.2 nautical miles. The lead fast boat turns toward the U.S. warship's starboard quarter. The spacing between the three craft tightens into a loose V, swarm tactic. They stayed back during the missile exchange. Now they move in. Inside CIC, weapons officers review the rules of engagement. Hostile intent not yet confirmed. Continue tracking. A bridge-to-bridge warning goes out immediately. Unidentified surface vessel. This is a United States Navy warship operating in international waters. You are approaching at high speed. Alter course immediately. No response. Range, 4.8 nautical miles. The escorting destroyer holds its offset position. Radar remains locked. Guns stay cold. The fast boats accelerate again. 38 knots by optics. Movement is visible on deck. Personnel topside. Something appears mounted near the bow of the lead craft. It could be a launcher. It could be ordinary deck equipment. At this distance, certainty is thin. Recommend aviation presence. Approved. On the flight deck, rotors begin to turn. The MH-60R Seahawk spins up fast. Its sensor pod is live before the wheels even leave the deck. Range, 3.9 nautical miles. The helicopter lifts cleanly into the air and banks low toward the incoming boats. The missiles failed. Now they are trying something closer. And at sea, close range is where mistakes become permanent. 5:21 local time. The MH-60R Seahawk clears the deck and drops low over open water, its rotors biting hard into the morning air. The sensor turret is already feeding infrared and optical imagery straight back to the Combat Information Center. Below, the three fast attack craft hold formation. Range, 3.2 nautical miles. Speed, 40 knots. They are no longer testing the perimeter, they are committing. Inside CIC, the surface track sharpens. Lead craft altering course, intercept vector confirmed. The U.S. warship holds steady speed. No sudden burst of power. No erratic evasive maneuvers. Discipline over impulse. The bridge-to-bridge warning is repeated in English and Farsi. Unidentified Iranian surface vessels, you are approaching a United States Navy ship at unsafe speed. Alter course immediately. No response. The Seahawk levels out at 200 feet above the waterline, offset from the bow of the lead boat. Through stabilized optics, the crew can now make out faces, helmets, headsets, and movement around a forward-mounted tube that could be a rocket rail. The Seahawk crew chief activates the laser designator. A thin green beam pulses across the windshield of the lead fast craft. Non-lethal, impossible to ignore. Iranian vessels, you are being illuminated. Change course now. The lead boat does not break away. Instead, it slides slightly left, widening its angle as if preparing to flank. The second boat surges forward. Range, 2.4 nautical miles. Inside CIC, the tension sharpens. Possible weapons preparation, heat signature near the bow. On the forward deck of the U.S. warship, the 5-inch gun raises 2 degrees. Not enough to fire, enough to be noticed. The Seahawk banks closer. Range, 2.0 nautical miles. The fast boats are now inside the distance, where a single bad decision becomes collision or worse. Rules of engagement remain clear. Show capability. Fire only in response to hostile action or unmistakable hostile intent. The lead Iranian boat slams across a wave. Spray rises high over the hull. A crew member near the bow shifts position. From the helicopter, the crew spots a metallic tube pivot slightly. Possible 107mm rocket. Recommend warning shot. Approved. 5:23 local time. The 5-inch gun fires. The blast is measured and deliberate. A single round lands in the water roughly 100 yards across the bow of the lead craft. The effect is immediate. A column of water erupts upward. Seconds later, the pressure wave hits the small boats like a physical shove. The formation breaks. The second boat cuts throttle first, dropping from 40 knots to 28. The third swings wide. The lead craft hesitates, then slows. Range, 1.7 nautical miles. The Seahawk maintains orbit, now slightly behind the group. Its optics zoom in tight. Crew members on the lead boat step back from the forward tube. One briefly raises both hands, palms outward. A signal understood anywhere. The U.S. warship does not push forward. No pursuit, no follow-up shot. Instead, the gun lowers back to neutral elevation. CRAM remains armed, but idle. The Iranian boats begin a gradual turn east. Speed falls to 20 knots. Range increasing. Inside CIC, tracking continues without pause. Contact Alpha reducing speed. Contact Bravo altering course 095. Contact Charlie dropping astern. The Seahawk descends slightly, hovering offset to ensure compliance. Its presence alone controls the space. No rockets fired, no gunfire exchanged. At 1.5 nautical miles of separation, the Iranian boats fully break formation and head back toward open water. By 5:26, range opens past 3 nautical miles. The Seahawk circles once, wide and silent, then climbs. Mission complete. Back aboard the $30 million warship, posture shifts from engagement to overwatch. No cheering, no visible release of tension, only controlled breathing, equipment checks, and eyes still on screens. The missile attack failed. The swarm approach failed. But none of it was random. It was layered. First, saturation from shore, then ballistic escalation, then close-range intimidation. 3 phases, 3 failures. The warship resumes its steady course. Engine power never changed. Flight deck crews prepare to recover the Seahawk. Inside CIC, analysts replay the timing of the surface approach. From first missile intercept to fast boat disengagement, 8 minutes. 8 minutes of layered defense. Iran expected a reaction. What it encountered was sequencing, and sequencing is harder to break than steel. 5:41 local time. The Seahawk settles back onto the flight deck. Rotors slow, but sensors continue recording. Its data stream still feeds the Combat Information Center. Every laser illumination, every course change, every maneuver by the Iranian fast craft, archived, time-stamped. But the escalation cycle is not finished. New air contacts inbound, friendly, 2 FA-18. Super Hornet break the horizon from the southwest, descending into a tight combat air patrol orbit above the warship. They were not launched in panic. They were already airborne as part of regional coverage. Now their posture changes. Altitude 15,000 feet, speed controlled, weapons ready. The difference is subtle but decisive. Missile defense stops immediate threats. Air superiority prevents the next one. Inside CIC, the radar picture steadies. No new missile launches, no additional surface contacts pressing forward. But on the electronic warfare consoles, new emissions begin registering from shore. A narrow beam radar spike flashes across the scope, likely from a coastal battery tracking the formation. The SLQ-32 suite captures everything. Frequency, pulse width, sweep rate. Every detail is logged. They are watching. The U.S. warship does not turn toward shore, and it does not pull away. It stays on its original transit line. The escorting destroyer shifts slightly, offsetting 10 degrees east to widen the defensive geometry. Quiet, precise, tactical. Overhead, the Super Hornets widen their orbit. One drops lower, clearly visible in the morning sky. No afterburner flare, just the unmistakable outline. A reminder that deterrence does not need to be dramatic. It works best in layers. On the bridge, the captain studies the updated plot: sea-skimming missiles, a ballistic follow-up, fast attack craft. 3 different domains tested in less than 15 minutes. Maintain course, increase readiness level. Not escalation, not retaliation, presence. At 5:47, an E-2D Hawkeye farther out in the region adjusts its orbit, extending radar coverage deeper inland. The picture grows wider. Launch areas that had been quiet are now placed under continuous watch. Satellite tasking requests move through secure channels. Unmanned ISR platforms are redirected. If Iran wanted to test timing, that timing is now being measured. The warship continues ahead at steady speed, hull intact, systems green across the board. But the strategic posture has changed. This is no longer a routine patrol. It is a monitored transit under heightened readiness. Electronic emissions from shore begin to fade. Radar spikes flatten. Either the systems have powered down or the message has already been delivered. Inside CIC, weapons officers replay the sequence, from the first radar bloom to the final withdrawal of the fast boats. 14 minutes and 32 seconds. 14 minutes that change the tone of the morning. No strike is launched in return. No weapons are sent toward land. Instead, air cover thickens overhead. Escort geometry tightens. Data is collected. The Super Hornets descend briefly to 8,000 feet, visible for miles. They do not rush in. They do not posture aggressively. They simply remain there. And that alone changes the calculation. At 5:53, surface radar confirms the 3 Iranian fast craft have slowed to below 15 knots and are increasing their distance toward territorial waters. No pursuit is ordered. The U.S. warship will not chase. It will not go beyond what is necessary, but it will not forget. The electronic warfare logs now hold coastal radar signatures captured under pressure, response timelines, surface maneuver patterns, and high-resolution imagery of the rocket tube configuration seen on the fast craft. Every move added information, and information shapes the next encounter. On deck, sailors return to controlled routine. Damage control teams confirm no fragment strikes. Flight deck crews secure tie-downs. Normal returns, but it is a sharper kind of normal now. At 6:02, the Combat Information Center confirms clear airspace within 50 nautical miles. No additional ballistic tracks. No new missile signatures. The captain gives the final order for this phase. Resume standard transit. Maintain cap overhead. The warship moves forward as though the morning never broke stride. But it did. Iran tested a layered response: cruise missiles, ballistic follow-up, swarm tactics, surface pressure. The U.S. Navy answered with layered discipline: intercept, presence, restraint, and restraint, when it stands behind real firepower, carries its own kind of force, because the biggest change was never in the steel or the smoke. It was in posture. Iran launched expecting damage. Instead, it exposed capability. And once capability is measured, the entire equation changes. 6:10 local time. The sea looks unchanged. Calm surface, light wind, no smoke left hanging on the horizon, but the operational picture is no longer the same. The $30 million U.S. warship continues its transit, hull untouched, systems green across every console. From a distance, it looks ordinary, just another gray silhouette moving across open water. Inside, nothing feels ordinary. The Combat Information Center replays every second of the engagement cycle. Radar bloom at 5:17, cruise missile intercepts, ballistic arc, fast boat approach vectors, laser illumination timing, warning shot impact point. 14 minutes of escalation, logged frame by frame. No guesswork, only data. The escorting destroyer shifts 5 nautical miles farther east, widening the protective envelope. The formation now reflects elevated readiness, not peacetime spacing. Overhead, the FA-18S remain in their combat air patrol pattern. They are not diving or pushing aggressively, they are simply there. And presence by itself is strategy. At 6:18, satellite tasking confirms continuous monitoring of the Iranian coastal launch zones tied to the strike. Thermal scans show lingering heat signatures where mobile launch platforms likely repositioned. They moved quickly, but not quickly enough to vanish. High-altitude ISR drones settle into holding patterns, invisible from the surface, still watching. No return strike is launched. No cruise missiles leave vertical launch cells toward shore. That choice is deliberate. Escalation is a ladder, and the United States does not climb it without a reason. Instead, the shift is quieter. Subsurface assets move closer to likely missile corridors. Maritime patrol aircraft adjust their patterns. Data from the ballistic intercept is sent to fleet analysts in real time. Iran tested 3 domains in sequence: sea-skimming cruise missiles to saturate defenses, a ballistic descent to raise the pressure, fast attack craft to force a close-range mistake. Each layer was stopped. No U.S. casualties. No structural damage. The warship did not surge away. It did not break formation. It did not overreact. It absorbed the test, and by absorbing it, it changed the balance. At 6:32, Iranian coastal radar emissions spike briefly, then flatten again. Fire control locks do not return. No additional launches are detected. The fast attack craft have fully withdrawn inside territorial waters. The message cycle is over. On the bridge, the captain studies the open water ahead. Transit continues along the exact same plotted course as before the first missile ever left its rail. No deviation. That is intentional. Changing course would suggest disruption. Holding course suggests control. Inside CIC, one final report goes up the chain of command. All hostile contacts neutralized, vessel secure, mission ongoing. No drama, no emotion, just accuracy. Across the region, commercial traffic resumes its steady flow through nearby shipping lanes. Civilian captains monitor open frequencies, but hear no distress traffic, no warnings about debris fields, no reports of burning ships on the horizon. The absence of impact becomes the story. By 700, flight operations return to a more normal rhythm. One Super Hornet rotates out to refuel, another replaces it without a gap. The air umbrella remains overhead because deterrence is not a single moment, it is continuity. The $30 million warship was never meant to dominate alone. It operates as part of a larger system: destroyers, aircraft, satellites, submarines, analysts. Iran aimed at a single hull. What it met was a network, and that network did not respond emotionally. It responded mechanically, sequentially, predictably. And in this context, predictability is power. The real shift was not the destruction of incoming missiles. It was the confirmation that layered defense worked under real pressure. Iran launched expecting impact. Seconds later, everything changed. Not because something exploded against steel, but because nothing did. The warship remains underway. Engines steady, sensors searching, weapons armed, but silent. And somewhere along the coastline, planners now understand that the margin for error is thinner than they believed. In modern naval conflict, the loudest move is not the first missile. It is surviving the strike without flinching. Transit continues, mission ongoing.